interview with Patricia Lamb. What place did you get today? I mean, yesterday in singles.
Singles, I got 15.
15.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then what did you get in your team with Rubicon?
Team Rubicon, we placed fourth.
Fourth. That's a pretty good showing. So what do you think about this year's with Worlds and how it's set up for singles and just like the infrastructure-wise?
How the whole thing
tournament was run.
It was really well planned out. It ran well. It was on time.
Okay.
There wasn't huge delays in between rounds, so they did a good job this year.
Okay, great. There's some interesting things in the meta right now. Definitely looking at the final match, that was interesting. How Patrick ended up playing it out. Is there anything in the meta right now that you feel that like, hey, let's look at this because this is not fun?
Friendly mind control is the worst. So the fact that it resets your once per game or once per turn effects. Allows too many things to go on.
Yeah, the once per game effects in mind control land.
Yeah, so I'm fine with friendly mind control as long as it doesn't reset the once per game, once per turn.
Okay, and then is there anything that's like, yeah, let's see more of this?
More? Oh no. A lot of it's awesome stuff, so.
Okay, all right. So this is the first of many little micro interviews that I'm doing on the last day of Gencon, tracking down all the important people. This is Patricia Lamb, and I am Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and hopefully you will hear from me soon. All right. This is my second interview, hopefully not my last since a lot of people are disappearing. I'm with Ross, part of Team Philly, also former Origins winner. So what did you think of Gen Con this year, sir?
I thought it was pretty fun. The judges definitely did a good job. It was fun. Very stressful though.
Okay, very stressful.
Very stressful.
So what do you think about the team event setup since this is the first year it's doing it? Should they come back or what needs to be tweaked or what?
I think the team event was almost perfect actually. I liked the two qualifiers that were both sealed, and then I liked how the finals were constructed, so I thought it was perfect actually. The qualifiers were really stress-free, kind of fun, quick rounds, and it was good. It was nice.
All right, so what do you think about Modern Age this year? With the things that we saw, there's anything that needs to be tweaked, fixed? You know, is the Modern Age meta in a healthy place?
I think it's moving in a better direction than it was in last year, but they've added a lot of entities, a lot more resources, and some figures that are pretty lethal. I think they need to change the entities. I think they should limit them to one per team. Yeah, one per team for entities, and but it's moving in a good direction. They need to fix a few things, but it's moving in a good direction.
All right, if there was anything that you would tell WizKids about Gen Con, what would it be?
What would it be? Better con LEs.
All right, thanks a lot, Ross.
Thank you very much.
All right. Hello everybody, I got another interview and I have one of the judges here at Gen Con. You judged Modern Age 300-point constructed for the World Championship for both teams in singles, correct?
Right.
All right. What was like that? What was it like running that type of event?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, I'd like to see all the good teams that came out here today. The past few days, I guess it would be. It was interesting to see all the teams this year because they were a lot different than last year. A lot of defensive teams, a lot of good players. You know, saw a lot of remote targeting kind of teams. A lot of Bizarro, Headpool, kind of like don't take a lot of damage teams. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of defense.
All right. And so when you're running like a tournament like this, like what's the main thing that goes through your mind as a judge? Like,
my main thing that goes through my mind is don't screw up a ruling because it's such high level that I don't want to make somebody lose because of that, you know, and hoping that I don't have to DQ somebody for some silly reason.
Okay. With all the things that you faced, that, I mean, as a judge with trials, tribulations, this tournament that you can talk about, what's one that stands out as like, we have to probably look at this in the future, or hey, man, this is something that judges might have to think about?
One thing.
Or anything. It doesn't have to be one thing.
Something we'd have to look at in the future. I'm not really sure. I mean, what kind of thing are you looking for?
I know one thing that has been sort of a tough issue is like team bases. And
Are you talking about stuff in the game or something about judging itself?
Judging or just in general, like, because with the matches, if you end up dealing with like, hey, someone has team bases, then okay, the game effects that come in with it, like, can they get access to this? Can they get access to that? All right, how much does that like team bases affect scoring at this high level?
Right.
Because I know I saw several team-based teams, and if an opponent gets, let's say 450,
right, yeah,
does that really jack things up that much?
Points don't often come into it. It's usually about wins. So the team bases, they definitely throw a wrench in there because you'll have somebody that can get a loss of like 400 something points. So that does make things interesting. The whole point scoring thing, is something that we're looking into. How elements are scored when they're removed from the game, such as when people are disintegrating resources and whatnot. Team bases, they kind of are meant to score extra points, maybe because you're popping off characters all over the place, and it does affect the scoring, but it really doesn't have end up having that huge of an impact on the way the tournament ends up running.
Okay. All right, and I mean the main reason I bring it up is just that some people at local venues might say, hey, team bases, blah blah blah. They might mess with the point values of how a game or a tournament can turn out.
Yeah, it really depends on how much the points matter in the tournament. As far as power level, the team bases did all right, but none of them really won like anything because they end up being people end up thinking that the team bases are kind of point and click, and they're really not, and they're way harder to play than people expect them to be because they're very dynamic with what you can pop off and what you can pop back on, all the different things they can do. So they end up being much more of an interesting game than people expect them to be, and I think they're a lot of fun.
All right. So, any other like wise words of wisdom to any future judges or judges out there?
Words of wisdom for judges. Just try to be friendly. Try to make sure that you not only are ready to answer questions, but also ready to have people not understand your answer. Bring over people who confirm your thing, confirm what you're saying. In case somebody like appeals or whatever. That's pretty much it. Just try to do the best you can, and remember all the things that you can. And you're not always going to be able to do it, so just make sure the game runs smoothly, basically.
All right, I'd like to thank Robert for coming on the show today, and hopefully I can get a couple more interviews here since everybody is leaving town. Street Channel. Okay, I have several high-level competitors here, two of which I played and had very tough matches against. I played him twice. I played Tim twice, and I finally get to interview Derek Thompson after a year. And then, of course, I have Cram Company, Scott Crampton, the one that sort of inspired all of this. All right, so I'm getting a big group interview here. So what y'all think about Gencon this year, starting with you, Tim?
I thought this was one of the best run Gencons. The Guardians boosters were an awesome surprise. Team Worlds was fantastic. It was fun playing the sealed part of it. Great time.
All right, Derek.
It was exhausting. 2 Worlds in a row. It's a lot. 11 to 11, 2 days in a row, and then Saturday the actual finals. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, Scott.
Everything was great except for Steven right there. He's a dick.
Shafnitz is a douchebag.
He's a dick.
D-bag.
Honestly, the Team World is probably the standout. I think that's like the most fun thing you could possibly do. Most of the people come in teams anyway. So I think Team World is great. Guardians again was awesome. It's exhausting though. It needs to go over 4 days. That would be my best bet. And I do talk too long.
We saw a lot of things in Modern Age, and we saw a lot of things in teams. At 300 and singles and in teams. Is there anything in particular that you're like, one positive about team construction and one negative? We'll start with Scott.
Positive is the concept that we can do team construction. on, that's never like. Are you talking about team
Like team actual figures team, not like team.
Okay, so
Team competition.
as far as that goes, far and away the best thing is the fact that there was 50 different world teams. Everything was completely different. There was no the same. Downside, my team was like $1,000. When I won before, you could buy my team on eBay for like $10. You like seriously drop about $800. I have 3 entities on my team. That's a lot of money now.
That's a lot of money now.
Yeah. All right. So positives, diversity, negatives, cost. Derek, what's your thoughts?
I like that there was a lot of diversity in the resources and everything that people used. Everybody used entities. A lot of Bizarros. I think he needs a little bit of adjustment because that's a lot to eat through, especially a Mystic Bizarro. That's just not fun. Either it's going to roll offs.
Matt only did 5. Matt did 4.
Only 4?
Matt, you did 4 roll-offs? He rolled off in that Battle Royale too, right?
4.
He finds the way.
4. Wow. All right. And Tim, what's your thought? Good and
The
positive.
diversity was great. Last year it was Ghost Rider everywhere. At least we saw different stuff.
And a champion that's actually
Fair. The downside is the game right now, at the beginning of your turn, there's like 8 things you got to remember. That's just way too much. It takes away from the actual strategy of the game. You're getting far less turns, far less actions, because you got to remember all the stuff at the beginning of the game. It's a little bit too complex right now.
Okay.
It needs to be longer now.
Yeah,
You actually need to be, like, the games need to go like 110 now.
Because of all the crap that's being inserted, you gotta do the book, you gotta do the entities, you gotta do all your pre-actions.
That can clearly eat through like 5 minutes every time you finish.
Yeah.
And he's not even being a dick about it. Like, here's a color, pick any power.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you have to process Resurrection Man. All right, so right now I saw a couple of teams that were like, you bring up Resurrection Man, it was like Bizarro, Resurrection Man, you can't kill me, na boo boo. Is that a problem, or is that a serious issue, Derek?
I don't like those kind of teams. I think it takes away a lot from actually playing the game. I mean, I understand you do what you have to win, but you run around with one character that you can't lock down while Resurrection Man goes out and hopefully does something. It's just not very much fun for the opponent.
All right, Tim, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of characters like that. Duke, Deadpool, and Bizarro's obviously the worst. It just takes away the flavor from the game. You hit Bizarro down to one click, he's running. It's just, he's not in the spirit of the game.
All right, Scott.
I wish it would go back a little bit further. Like, I miss the times of just running, shotting characters and checking range and stuff like that. If somebody just told me Worlds was a cardless thing, you could use anything that had a card, I'd probably be happier.
Yeah, agreed.
I think a better champion would probably come about. I mean, I played Absorbing Man. There's a 3% chance of hitting him, and that's assuming that you hit him. So assuming you actually hit him every time, which most of the time he had a 22 to 23 defense. Even if that's true, and you hit that, you have a 3% chance of making it stick past Shape Change, Super Senses, and then his impossible roll.
Yeah, he's insane.
And then he had White Ring.
So he'd come back to life. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, wow, you sort of talked about one thing I was going to do in the show. Let's talk briefly about White Ring. It allows you to give any character a stop click that's not a White Lantern. I mean, is that a little OP or nay?
Depends on the character.
In the meta right now, with all the Bill, Bullseye, one shot, bam, you're dead. I mean, it prolongs the game a little bit. It takes, I guess, puts a little bit of strategy back in. Because otherwise, it's like win initiative, bam, dead. Okay, good game.
Yeah.
I don't think White Ring's the problem. I think it's like, Bizarro's the problem, Zoriman's the problem. White Ring's okay. In general, I mean, when you compare it to, the book or what the power battery can do, if it wasn't for White Ring, I'd never even consider playing or green
The free action too, but you can play around that. It just takes a little more fun.
Yeah.
Power action heal for the win. All right, that's pretty much it. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen? We'll start with Tim.
No, Gencon was great. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces. Always a great time.
Okay, Scott, because I'm random.
If you haven't been to Gen Con, you should go. Don't stay away. People here are really, really nice, except for Derek.
Derek, you get the last word.
Not everybody. I'm not the only mean one. Yeah, Gen Con's definitely a good time. I know that gets a lot of bad rep because people think, meta players hyper competitive all the time. It's really not the case. I played some of the nicest people this weekend, and they were still very close competitive games, so it is a lot of fun. People should try it out.
Okay, well, guys, everybody seems to have dissipated, so this is probably my last interview. So I hope you enjoyed this on-location episode of Starting Over Podcast and the interviews that I've done, and definitely check me out next week. Boom. I'm gonna be quick. All right, Miracle Technology, I got another interview. Also, very good luck. I have the US of A Origins winner, Mr. Adam Freeman, aka Furls, aka the guy that beat me at the Tulsa Rock.
Very true.
So I don't feel as bad since I lost to him now. So tell us about your Gen Con experience this year.
Well, this year was actually kind of relaxing for me because the first day I didn't have to do anything all morning because I was already qualified, and then we played in Team Worlds, and I did awful in Team Worlds that event. We had a kind of mediocre pool, and we went like 1-3 I think overall. And then day 2, I only had to play in the morning. I didn't have to play in the afternoon. We went 3-1 to barely make 3rd place to qualify. And then the last day was just 12 straight hours of heroclix. So I was very drained after that.
All right, what was the most, list off the most positive thing that you saw in the meta this year at 300-point modern singles, and then the most negative for the game?
For the game?
For the game.
I mean, the ability to attack across the map while staying in your starting area and never leaving the starting area, I think that's probably a net negative for the game overall. I feel like it reduces the amount of interaction that happens. On the positive is, for the singles event, this year was I was talking with one of the RDs yesterday, and he made the point that this year would seem to be a response to last year. Last year was pretty much the most aggressive Worlds we've ever had, where everything was winning super fast and taking way too many actions. And this year may have been one of the slowest and most defensive formats we've ever had. I don't know if defensive is a good thing in the long run, but at least with the things we were seeing, I enjoyed it. I probably would never want to do it again. Simply because games almost always went to time. Games were pretty much, I'm going to chase you around the map for 50 minutes. Anyone who played during the Metron Nightcrawler era would be very familiar with the way games went here, because it was pretty much kill a couple things and then just run away for as long as possible, or you manage to turtle up behind blocking terrain or behind whatever, and you just kill stuff at will. Neither of which I think is particularly healthy in the long run, but I think is okay short term. If it's one event, 2 events, even 5-6 months, it's probably not a big problem. But if we see this again next year, then I think there's going to have to be some serious looks at how they're printing things and why they're printing things.
Why they're printing things. Okay. And then let's go look at Team Worlds. With Team Worlds having a situation where there's like no repeat element or figure, did that provide more diversity in play, or was that more of like, let's see how we're going to share the entities between all of us?
Well, considering, our team came in second, and we played against the double world champs team, Patrick Yapoko, and pretty much it didn't occur to me till after the fact, but the head judge Brian mentioned that basically it was a team pseudo mirror match. We had Jake, who was playing Bizarro Headpool with Entity, and then a Power Battery against another Bizarro team. And then we had our team base against their team base. It was they had New Mutants, we had JLA. And then it was our sit in the back and attacking from across the map team, which was me, Phantomax, versus their sit in the back row and taking from across the map team, which was Iron Pharaoh. And I think we only had 4 entities between our entire thing.
Okay.
Because Jake had 1, and then I had 3.
Okay.
So I mean, the team base really opened up the options on the other 2 teams. So I think that was one of the main reasons we wanted to do it. Is it opened up whatever resource we wanted. It didn't require us to play around the 3rd one. one, and then entities, it opened up an entire team of entities.
Okay, so there's some good levels of strategies with team building for
Team Worlds, yeah.
For Team Worlds. Okay. All right. Well, if there was anything that you could change in the future, what would it be for?
Change in the future, like for the game or
for the game or for Gen Con?
I think I would actually like to see a completely sealed event for a World Championship. Something like where they do sealed for the both qualifiers, and then they do some like alternative form of sealed for the top 32, and then cut to something like a draft for the top 8. I don't know exactly how it would work, but I think something like that could be really interesting. It'd be unheard of for this game so far.
Yeah. And in the last magical act of God, I have Jaderay. Jetery, who has shown up.
I would have liked shavered and showered.
That's
and stuff.
well, they can't tell on the shower thing. So real quick, because this is abrupt, what'd you think of Gen Con this year, sir?
It was a great Gen Con. I'm a little bit frustrated because I made one stupid mistake that made me place 9th in finals, but it's a better defense than a lot of people have had for a world championship over the last few years. At 9th, one mistake, I should have at least been top 4 with what I played. Because I always play a lot of crazy stuff, and I played the one thing nobody expected.
JLL team base.
JLA team base with the strategy game figures. Not one person expected that from me, and it completely caught everybody up. Well, we talked about it, so of course you did. I got John Redden here, my friend from Salt Lake. Me, Adam, and him played on a team. We got second in World's Finals. We were that close to winning a back-to-back World Championship for me and Adam, the first national World Champ. But
well, instead we got the first 2 times same day.
Yeah, we did get that. Would you want to be the one president?
Oh yeah, no, I want to be the president. Yeah, obviously.
We were that close to winning handcuffs. He had the Nubians team base with second to last click. Last click, and got handcuffed right at the end.
Oh.
That's as close as you can get, because I won my game, Adam lost his, and he had the team base all the way down until he got handcuffed.
Okay, so looking at the meta from 300-point modern, singles, and also teams, is there anything that you say like, hey, this needs to be looked at?
I don't know what to do about it, because in the final game, obviously, it's a balanced strategy right now. Pat KO'd a couple of figures and was able to get away from everybody else. He built the team to do that, and he won. Different teams are set up different ways. That's the way he played it. I don't know what you can do differently to set things up. I don't know, man. It was a completely fair play. I know a lot of people online are really upset and complaining about it. It's a valid strategy, I don't know how else you can change it, make more figures that can chase things down. I don't think the meta this year was nearly as broken as last year with Cop Cars, Ghost Rider, Heroes for Hire. Watch list stuff. I had someone complaining to me, you got those Cop Cars watch listed. Well, they probably needed to be.
They needed to be watch listed.
I don't think it's as bad this year as last year, but what you'll notice, if you notice this year on the meta, WizKids is about 6 months roughly behind as far as making changes. I know that we saw some designers watched a bunch of my games this year to see what we were playing, how they were being played. You'll probably see some things that will change the ability, 4 or 6 months down the road. Maybe characters that can't carry, maybe characters that limit movement. Who knows what's coming out in the next sets? But I know
get nebulous.
Yeah, and I know that WizKids is definitely paying attention, which is cool because, you know as well as I do, this is probably the most diverse meta we've had in, 3 years?
No, I would say forever. I would say it is by and far the most diverse meta we've ever had.
Oh, by far, because we saw at the top tables, I didn't play a resource entity. We saw entities. We saw almost every resource in the final. Before it was you either played the gauntlet, and then the next year you played the bell. This year we saw power plants, power batteries,
belts,
books. We saw everything. That's cool. We've never had it like that before. So
yeah.
I think the game's on its right path. I think we're getting to where we need to be. But one person told me one time, it's like, if you guys could see what was coming out 6 months from now, we're listening. We've just got to get to that point.
Okay, so we just have to wait for that 6 months. If there was any shorthand rule for WizKids to say yo, understand how you're going to impact the meta, what would it be then? And I'll throw it to both you and Adam.
Team bases were a big deal. Everyone was complaining about the Justice League team base this year, and I've actually had more people tell me congratulations for playing that this year.
Yeah.
Because it was so off the wall. It wasn't a resource. It wasn't. I mean, I'm probably the cheapest team in the finals. You can buy the team base and the strategy game for about $85, $90 for both of them. That's not in the price.
That's $160. That is cheaper than most teams.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I wanted to try to prove the point that you can win without playing that stuff. It's a little bit different, but you can. I think as far as WizKids in the meta, though, we're getting to the point where there's so many options out there. I mean, you've had success with the Justice League team base than expected. Just keep doing what they're doing. People complain all the time, but we're really getting to a point now where there's 10 or 15 different teams that you may not win the whole thing, but you can have a top 4 or top 8 showing with playing something that someone else doesn't play at all. That's cool. You never see that anymore.
All right, Adam, your last thoughts. A shorthand for WizKids.
Be wary of anything that can win the game without being attacked. I think it was fine for this year, but I think going forward, the more elements you have like that, the slower the game goes. And it's one of those things, I know, I was talking with some people from last year, and they go, it was really degenerate, but at least games were over relatively quickly, and so you kind of just got it out of your system when you lost, whereas now you're literally going to the very last minute.
How many roll-offs did you have?
Oh my goodness. So I had I was 4-4 for the weekend, total. I think 4 for the weekend. I had one actual loss, which was in the team finals against Pat, where I just lost outright. My other 3 losses were all roll-offs. 0-point tie roll-offs, all 3 of them. Against Iron Pharaoh, and then a Tiamat one-man army, who I couldn't kill him because he kept rolling.
Yeah. I know for myself, I had one roll-off. I would have lost that one, but I won't front.
I've never seen so many roll-offs in an event before.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's on the one hand, I dislike the degeneracy from last year. On the other hand, going to roll-off is just so anticlimactic in so many ways that I think for me personally, I'd almost rather have the degenerate stuff back than have to just deal with that. So, I don't know.
Okay. All right. I'd like to thank Jittery. I don't know. Jittery. Yeah.
It's okay. Jittery never gets my name correct either.
Just one last thing on that too, just to point out. Like I said, I played completely standard teams this year, and I think my overall record at all the constructed events I did was like 72 on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for
you get 3 losses.
2. In constructed 2.
Oh, in constructed.
Yeah, constructed 2. I went 5-0 yesterday in the sales. I'm just playing regular teams. I can play teams, so play whatever. So
yeah.
It's been fun.
All right.
Man, do you have fun?
Okay, so now it gets turned on me, so you get to be the cameraman. you all get to be cameraman. Actually, yeah, Adam's watching. Yeah. All right. This is my thoughts on being here for the first time. 19th place. That's not bad for first time out. Not only that, I think that overall WizKids handled things really well. They also, if you want to go do battle royales, you can go line up, do it. Boom. Within 5-10 minutes, you're playing your battle royale, so that's a good thing. 300-point modern, I think part of the stall stuff with Bizarro really has to be looked at, because once you start looking at the full creativity of the power battery and the more constructs that are coming into the game, it's getting ridiculous where, Bizarro has, shape change, he has regen, Bizarro has like 15 different things. Resurrection Man jank a little bit, I didn't like that. But other than that, everyone played very good stuff. And I end up, when I went 5-0 day before, I told the guy I beat, hey, this is degrees of excellence. This isn't I'm good, you suck. It's degrees of excellence the entire time, and that's the one thing I like about Gencon. And so, hey, if you listen to the show, which you are now, hopefully I'm able to give you a little bit better insight. I didn't do teams because all the famous people had teammates. So we needed a teammate. So that was it. I think also, if you're going to be serious about teams or singles or trying to do both, you have to have a mental exercise marathon practice to do both. I would say like some of the better performances are more from the people that I think pick one than the other, and you know, you have the occasional Patricks run, you know, in both. So, but you have to make sure you have the mental fortitude for that. Pretty much that's it. That's my thoughts. So I guess this wraps up my Gen Con analysis. I'd like to thank Adam for operating as cameraman for the last minute of it. And hopefully you all enjoyed all the interviews that I had. I always try to do something nice around Gen Con. And remember, y'all have to start over sometime.